Scarers Anonymous contains intense and graphic scenes that may frighten certain individuals, such as children, persons with histories of mental illness, and homeschoolers. This podcast may feature topics such as blood, death, ghosts, and immature fart jokes. Proceed with extreme caution if you suffer from medical conditions such as heart problems, seizures, loss of bowel control, or getting offended by everything. And most importantly, don't touch the f***ing monsters.
Welcome to the Scarers Anonymous podcast with me, Andy Moore. You may know me as Scary Guy, Zombie Dude, That Farmer, Can Man, Old Guy, The Farting Guy, or even just Dad. But if you ask me what my name is, I'll tell you it's Uncle Varner. I've been a scare actor since 2002. I've worked everything from home haunts in my parents' backyard to medium-sized haunts in Colorado and Nebraska to the one that started it all, Knott's Scary Farm. For the last few years, I have also been a manager, designer, and builder at Roca Scary Farm near Lincoln, Nebraska. Once the mask comes off, I'm a pretty average guy who doesn't fit the stereotype of somebody who enjoys splattering fake blood all over myself and giving people nightmares. I don't have any tattoos or piercings. I honestly don't like horror movies. I'm married and have kids. I go to church, and I'm even an Eagle Scout for crying out loud. But every year when October arrives, that's when I get to be a totally different person for a few nights each week, and let me tell you, there's no better stress reliever in the world. Over the last couple decades, I have met many interesting people and have heard and told so many great stories, all related to scaring. This podcast was created to relay those stories on to fellow scare actors, fans of haunted attractions, or anybody that just wants a good laugh at someone else's expense. So the very first podcast on Scarers Anonymous, we have Mike Potestis and Eric Howarder, both who are scare actors at Roca Scary Farm. Say hello, gentlemen.
Hello.
Hey there.
Why don't you guys give a little background about yourselves, how you got into scaring, if you have any acting background, that kind of stuff.
My name's Mike Potestis. I've been scaring at Roca Scary Farm for about 8 years now. Started my first 2 years as a volunteer there on out, just as a regular entertaining scare. After that, I became a manager type person.
How long ago was that when you started?
2012, I believe, was my first volunteer year.
You're a veteran.
Yeah, I've seen things, you know. Yeah, so that's about as long as I've scared. Besides that, acting background, you know, I've done musicals and plays and stuff way back in high school, and yeah, I guess I'm pretty scary compared to the rest of the guys, especially little Eric in here.
Eric, how about you?
I've been scaring for 3 years. My first year, I was very short, about 5 foot tall.
That tall?
About 5 foot tall, yeah. And then after that, I sent a Instagram message to Andy and asked to help build.
You mean a DM?
Yeah, an Instagram DM. And from there, I came out as a volunteer. Then I started getting paid, and we started to build the Sinister Circus in 2017.
You know, it's funny, the first time I met you, I remember, I don't know if we actually met, but the first time I remember seeing you was the night where we got assigned positions in the Sinister Circus. And this was before Mike and I were managing. But I remember they assigned you, they're like, oh, we need this position, we need this person to wear a full onesie pajama and sit in this van all night. And I just thought to myself, that sucks, and I feel bad for this kid. So luckily you weren't stuck in that van for very long, right?
Yeah, I was stuck in there for the first 2 nights, and then after that I traded with a girl that was in the front. So I started scaring in a little RV with the chainsaw. So just imagine a 5 foot little kid with the clown mask with the chainsaw running after you. Pretty scary.
That's actually reminds me, one of the funniest things in the first times I saw you scaring, you were chasing somebody with the chainsaw, and then that person came walking past me after you ran away, and I hear him telling their friends, man, I just got scared by a 9-year-old, and I laughed so hard. It was pretty funny because you really did look like a 9-year-old, and now you're like taller than Mike and I, so
Size doesn't matter.
Okay, Mike. And then for me, I kind of gave a brief background on me, I'm scared at Roca Berry Farm, of course. But I was scared at Not Scary Farm. I worked in the Carnival of Carnivorous Clowns for 2 years, and then I worked in this horrible streets zone called the Dark Realm, which was the laughing stock that year, but it was kind of fun. So worked there, and then I worked at a few haunted houses in Colorado. One was called Sick and Twisted. It lasted, I think, a year. And then I worked in, what was it called? Haunted Fairy Tales or something. Twisted Fairy Tales, and then Reaper's Hollow and the House of Fear in Colorado. And then took a year or so break, moved to good old Nebraska, and started at Roca Berry Farm in 2015, I believe. That was my first year. So, and then I scared there, and then I met up with Mike, and we started building and stuff. So
What up?
what? So bringing me to when Mike and I met, he and I were both line walkers or streets monsters, whatever you call them, where we just we're not stuck in a maze. We kind of walk around and scare people however we want outside, people waiting in line and stuff. And I remember my first year doing that. I saw Mike and I thought he was like my age. And then I've come to find out he's like 17 years younger than I am, which is funny. But I think
Age doesn't matter.
I think that first year it was just me, you, and Cole, and the ninja.
I am the ninja.
I am the ninja.
Yeah, I remember my first time going to a meeting for Roca Scary Farm. We were in the Pioneer Barn, and we were all sitting there. They were assigning positions, and I saw you, Mike, Andy, and Cole all on one of the little seats. I was like, I wonder what they do. And then I figured out that you guys were line walkers, and I just wanted to be a line walker. It sounded more fun.
It is.
You gotta be this tall to ride the ride.
One of the first times Mike and I kind of like butted up a little bit was, what was it, 2016, I believe, where, what was it, Whole New World or something like that, when we started singing that to people, and that was...
I can show you the world.
I don't remember what the reasoning was for that, but I just remember that we were singing A Whole New World for some reason.
It's the
And
pump-up song.
That was like, I remember probably the first time you and I like kind of hung out at the farm. So, and then we talked to Jordan and got set up, and here we are.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta get started being a little weird. You can't be yourself all the time. Well, I mean, you can be yourself and be weird, but...
Yeah.
Yeah, we're cool people now.
So we can talk a little bit about when we kind of changed from scaring to actually building. When we contacted Jordan at the farm to start working on the Sinister Circus, I remember it was just bad. And then we came in and we had all these ideas, and I think Jordan thought that we were not very reliable. I think he thought that we were gonna like totally flake on him and be like, "Oh yeah, we have all these great ideas," and then just not happen. And then when we actually went out there and started building stuff and having it look good, they were like, "Oh crap, these guys actually kind of know what they're doing, and they have some sweet ideas." So that was fun to kind of start getting recognition from them.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of took the circus in an upward direction, so to say, from, being a bunch of corn and a tent here, and here, to a bunch of corn with a bunch of cool scares and a bunch of not live murder scenes here, and there. No affiliation with live murder scenes, but we started building that circus of ours, and we got Eric in the loop as he sent Mr. Andy Moore a Instagram DM and asked to build, and I was totally against it because you have to be so tall, as I said, to ride the ride. But little did I know this man as in Eric has many, many, many talents of holding screws.
Yeah, I know I had to talk you into it because that first year I remember, I saw the people say that he looked like a 9-year-old, but I remember also thinking to myself, holy crap, this kid is good. Like, he knows what he's doing. He's a natural, and I could see him as a line walker in the future. So when he contacted me about building, I'm like, yeah, sure, like, that's cool. We think we need a third person, so let's do it. And I'm glad Mike gave in.
Give it up for Bubbles.
Oh, the Bubbles. I was like, what? Why are you calling him
They're
Bubbles?
still out there,
I
man.
remember, yeah, he's he's talking to us about these. I can't wait for the inflatable bubbles. And we're like, what are you talking about? Bubbles?
Just go look at the bubbles. They're over
The
there.
inflatable bubbles. We're like, what? And they're those big inflatable cushions that people bounce on out
The
there.
pillows.
The jumping pillows, yeah.
What are pillows? I thought
Bubbles.
they're called bubbles.
Bubbles makes me think of Michael Jackson's Little Monkey. Yeah, about the circus though, it was really cool to do that because I've always wanted to build and design haunted houses since, like, I don't know, probably a teenager when I first kind of thought how fun it would be and started getting ideas and stuff. And then when I worked at this haunted house in Denver, and they told me and another guy, like, we want to have you guys back next year to have us help design stuff. So we had all these ideas. We had meetings and planned all these cool things out. And I had these sweet ideas that I thought were just amazing, and then they ended up going out of business, and it never happened. So it was like, when we came out to Oroka, I was like, sweet, now is my opportunity to get to do this again. And I had lost the notebook that I had written all that stuff in, but had a lot of it still in the back of my head, which was cool. So,
And then lost a bunch of it in the back of your car too.
oh yeah, that time when you put like the giant water bottle that spilled all over everything.
Stay hydrated.
So, but yeah, it was cool. Hotter than hell that summer. We spent a lot of days out there practically sweating to death and getting bit by mosquitoes and sunburned and all that crap.
Ending up in the hospital.
Oh yeah, you did end up in the hospital.
I forgot which occurrence, but I was definitely in the hospital. Jetpack, you know.
Diabetics. Diabetes.
Who was diabetes?
You guys remember that time where we decided that I wanted to try out the stilts
Oh, gee.
and started to use them. Thought I was good at it, but turned out I wasn't. Fell on some, what was it called?
Stinging nettle.
Yeah, stinging nettle. My whole arm was full of bubbles.
Oh man, that was funny. I was like, dude, his parents were gonna kill us.
Wait, didn't it get on his head too?
I don't think it did.
I think it's just his arm. Like, you smashed your head into that wooden thing when you fell, though.
It's fun.
That was pretty funny.
I just work here.
So in the circus, like, let's talk about building. Like, so in the circus, we had all these plans written down in notebooks and ideas we talked about and stuff. But how many of those things did we discuss and then they actually never even came to fruition? Either that or just
21.
failed.
21.
21.
I mean, yeah, we had a lot of ideas, and you know, we also had a lot more, but a lot of them got really wet in the back of Andy's car. But you know, a big majority of the things that we had planned out did go through, or you know, some didn't turn out as well as we thought. For example, our nice entrance peanut room of darkness.
Hey, the peanuts worked in the haunted house I worked in before. Put them on the floor and people stepped on them. They freaked out. They thought they were like cockroaches.
Just for background, we had a nice, our entrance is very nice and scary looking, and you go through these curtains and it says condemned for cockroaches. There's a sign, and on the ground there was a bunch of peanuts, and you would step on these peanuts and they'd be very crunchy. And yeah, there's people with peanut allergies, or people with wheelchairs that just cannot go through this nice wooden hallway we spent tons of hours building. And then we had this drop window, and Eric broke his toe and started crying like a little baby, and it was probably the funniest thing because he broke like nothing off his toe but probably skin.
Yeah, it hurt. It hurt a lot, but it still is purple and blue. The
Still?
toenail is, yeah.
Oh, geez.
But yeah, I decided that I was gonna get one last scare. It was the last night, I decided to throw down the window as hard as I could, right on my foot, and yeah.
Yeah, I remember getting that radio call. They're like, Eric's hurt. What? Mike and I like sprinted over, probably the fastest I've ever ran in my life, and I was like, Eric's dead. He was just on the ground, like, oh, my toe. Oh. Oh. Well, for me, the circus, like the thing that bummed me out the most was that finale we had. We had this sweet idea for this finale, and it just didn't work out.
I totally forgot about that.
Our idea was for this finale was this never-ending hallway that had these doors that were on hinges, and it's kind of hard to explain via audio, but it was like you walk into this squared off room, and it has all these walls, and then it has walls that are on hinges.
What?
So, what?
What?
Yeah, what? It has walls on hinges, and then so you push through the walls, and then you get trapped in this room, and you just walk in circles over and over. But right before the season, the owner of the farm was like, "Oh, I'm worried that somebody's gonna push one of these walls open and hit somebody in the face." So we had to take them off. So it ended up just being some lame room that you just walk in and it's over. And then the very final room was this idea that I've had since like 2000.
This one worked. It was a dope idea.
Yeah, it kind of worked. But I had this idea since like 2006 where you go into this room, the doors shut, and then the lights turn off, and then somebody comes out with the chainsaw. So you're trapped in this dark room with nowhere to go, and the chainsaw goes off.
I mean, that's not your idea's fault. It's mainly the people that ran the idea within the room, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, they didn't really completely
And
follow
somehow
it.
there was a chainsaw that ended up in the wall, but
Oh, they never did that. That wasn't them.
That was this year, right?
No, it was last year. I remember him denying it.
No, that was definitely them. It had to have
I know,
been.
I was just joking.
Names not affiliated with this podcast.
still love you guys.
But that to me was like a huge bummer because I had this plan and it just didn't work out because the scares didn't really do what they were supposed to. But
Maybe it'll find its way into the circus this next
yeah,
year.
you steal my idea.
Not steal, just recreate and use different people. It'll be the same.
That's true. And then we had other things in the circus like that. We had this van that we wrote Free Candy, and we put it next to a playground. And we wanted to do horrible things, like put this audio clip in there of the I don't even know the guy's name, but he's like cooking food. He goes, "Oh, it's so good and tasty," and it sounds very dirty.
Just for the record, it was a fake playground, not a real playground.
Yes. But we wanted to put that noise inside the van, and I don't remember if we just didn't or if we decided that it was like,
I think we decided that we didn't want to do it.
Budget cuts.
well, I have a feeling people would have complained because we had other creepy ideas.
We also
like,
didn't want to do it.
Yeah. But I don't know. I think it would have been hilarious, but at the same time, could have been bad. Would have gotten a lot of complaints. So.
We also had a lot of flooding that year.
Oh yeah.
The whole back half of the circus was flooded. We had to cut down corn at the end of the season to reroute the circus and cut off scenes, cut the prices of the attractions.
It was Circus Lake.
It also didn't help that I got in the skid loader stuck in that it scene and totally created huge
Oh,
ruts.
man, you're just trying to start a fight up in here right now.
It created all these ruts in the mud and basically screwed over this scene that was like Mike's baby for the entire
The
season.
best scene in the circus by far.
Yeah.
Besides for, I'm sorry. I just looked at your headphones and I saw they were bedazzled or something, and it just.
You like my pink headphones, it's alright. Well, as far as best scene in the circus, that was the Hicks scene, and we all know that.
Yo, can we get security up in here?
I love that Hicks scene. It was funny.
Oh, you're not gonna use this? Oh, let's put it in the Hicks scene. Is that a dead pig? Oh, let's put it in the Hicks scene.
Well, it was cool. And it was a place to throw all of our trash that we didn't want to use. Got to just throw it in the Hicks scene. There you go.
True.
Also, one of the RVs did get completely destroyed.
Still unknown to this day.
We also had that Jack in the Box that we really wanted to work.
Oh yeah, the
And
kid
it's-
destroyed it.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name was, but he destroyed it, and I was not happy about it.
In like 20 minutes.
Yeah, it lasted like 2 nights, I think.
That spot might have been worse than me and the candy van. Trapped in a little box all night.
No, the worst spot was that spot in the corner where I won't name names, but you know who you are. Decided to lay down in the corn in the dark.
about to say that. I got kicked in the ribs.
He was so mad. Like, don't lay in the corn in the dark, and he kept doing it. And he ended up getting kicked in the ribs and getting bruised ribs, and he was all pissed off about it.
I'm sure the corn beat him up.
Thanks a lot, corn.
I also remember the night that we all had to hurry up and take all the side parts off of the tent because the fire marshal was coming.
Yo, we follow rules around here.
Yeah.
No, we didn't want to have any run-ins with the fire marshal.
Alright, you're right. Rules don't matter.
But also we had that cool idea with the squee shoe being moved.
With the what?
The squee shoe.
Oh, yeah.
We also had problems with the line into the maze because we would hold people and then it'd be backed up and then
People would hold it too long. That was ridiculous. The worst was when that line was so backed up that people were stuck inside that squeeze chute or inflatable hallway, whatever you want to call it. I would seriously probably have a panic attack if I got stuck inside that thing because claustrophobia, I don't mess with that crap. But yeah, it was.
It's okay. Someone cut holes in every side of the squeeze chute this year, so you do not have to worry about that.
Seriously?
Yeah, they just went through. It's like slash, slash, slash.
So it's done?
I mean, I don't know. It'll probably get fixed, but that's something, it's just not my responsibility. I don't.
That sucks. Because I think that thing is rad, but I just get claustrophobic.
I saw one online that it was instead of being a black squeeze shoe, it was a white squeeze shoe. And you could put lights in it and it would be like all different colors. It's pretty cool.
Ooh,
Oh, that'd be sweet.
we should order that.
That'd be a good circus prop right there. Flashing strobes and stuff.
I don't know. I think that'd be great for Clown Town.
So for the scenes last year, there was that first hallway, and then it was the it scene, and then it was the billboards,
Mm-hmm.
and then didn't you go around like a little loop, and then it was scarecrows,
Yep.
and then it was Candyland, then the playground, and then it was the tipped over van with the prisoner running at you.
Yep.
You forgot about White Soup the Clown.
What soup?
White Soup.
Oh, yeah. That was just like a random person before the candy van.
But then after the candy van was the prison van.
Yeah.
And then
The hick scene.
And then it was the drunk clown, and then it was the Jack in the Box, and then you went to the tent, which also there was that really good scare that was in before the tent with the little horn. He was pretty good.
The Jimmy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. He's
And
good.
then there was also that doll we put in the corn, and people would think it would be real. And then I'd hide behind it, and they'd be like, "Oh no, it's fake." And then I'd jump right at them, and they'd be super scared. It was a great scare.
Good stuff.
I remember last year, first time we did the circus was, we were trying to find chain link everywhere. You guys got some, and then we were cutting all that with our hands, the hand tools, on a super hot, like 100-degree summer day. We're last minute putting
putting-
chain link up, cutting it with our hands.
Putting the clippers, what were they, like wire strippers or something like that we wrapped around it and stomped on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was ridiculous.
We also had an idea of putting noodles everywhere
Oh, yeah.
to cover metal. It was a great idea.
Whatever, it worked. One of my favorite things about when we were doing the circus is all the pranks that we pulled on Eric. It was like Eric was super gullible, so we just pulled prank after prank on him. My favorite one, I think, it was pretty early on in building, and we were supposed to go out there one day to meet with one of the owners. And all three of us, Mike and Eric and I, were going out there, and Eric mentioned, "Oh yeah, I've never met Jordan." And a little background: Jordan and the rest of the owners of the farm are like literally, and I'm not just saying this, literally some of the nicest people I've ever met in my life. But he's like, "Yeah, I've never met Jordan. I hear he's a nice guy." I'm like, No, you heard wrong. So
He's mean.
so Mike and I started texting Mike on the side, and I said, let's prank Eric here, and let's make up all kinds of horrible things. So we started telling Eric all these things like, oh yeah, I said, like, I'm afraid of Jordan. He's mean. He says horrible things to me. And then we said he got mad at a scare one year, and he whipped him with a piece of corn. And then put his cigarette out on the kid's back, and we're like, I don't know. I thought it was.
I thought we said he put the cigarette on my neck.
Oh, was it your neck?
I think so. That's why when you said that, I connected. Pretty
Jordan doesn't even smoke, which was funny.
Listen,
But-
Jordan, yeah. Jordan, if you're out there in the audience, you're super nice. You don't smoke. None of this ever happened.
And you never whipped a kid with a piece of corn.
Yeah, that too. But yeah, we had to set the stage.
But that was a funny prank. And then we get there. I don't even know. You know, we discussed it. We're like, let's not even tell Eric until like right before Jordan walks up that we were lying. So like, we had Eric going, and then I know Jordan was like walking up, and we're like, we're just messing with you. He's a super nice guy. He's like, oh, dude, I was worried.
Yeah.
Were you super nervous about
Yeah, I was
that?
actually pretty nervous. I mean, I don't know. He seems like a super nice guy. So, and then you guys kind of fooled me.
Mhm. Yeah, that was pretty funny. So, what were the other things we pulled on? I mean, it seemed like we were pulling pranks on Eric like nonstop. Or
Pretty sure you guys said that one of the scenes was completely destroyed. You always would mess around by saying that the flood or the wind or something would completely destroy something, and I'd be all mad. And
yeah, I know that there was a lot of BS texts that we sent out about stupid things being destroyed, or even just like, oh yeah, this thing doesn't work, or no.
I think Eric just has a lot of trauma from this traumatizing part of his life of pranks by us.
I don't know. I thought there was. I mean, I don't know why I can't think of any more, but it was just like we pulled prank after prank off on him, and I kind of felt bad about it.
We probably have like a forgetting syndrome or whatever, because we pulled so many pranks that we're just out of pranks to pull.
or I just don't believe you guys anymore.
Yeah. Well, and then you try to pull pranks on us, and it never works.
It just never works.
Like the time you tried to tell us that you
We're having twins.
twins. Like, come on, like if you're gonna make a joke,
You
like,
gotta be this tall to ride the ride, bro.
God, at least make it believable. I know you're not having twins. That was crazy. So moving topics, we're gonna kind of just jump into the actual scaring, which is kind of what this whole thing is all about, is scaring experiences and stuff. So we just wanted to talk about scare stories, like funny things that have happened to you while you were scaring. I mean, do you guys have anything that stands out? Funny is best, but also, you know, it'd be cool to hear about like stupid things that have happened to you. Or
I mean, you know, there was a time when, you know, I really don't know what the word for this is, but me, you, and a couple other line scares gangbang this customer.
what?
That she was scared, and we figured out her name.
Okay, so you used a word that was definitely not supposed to be used to describe that. So
All right, we're gonna have to cut that section out.
how about you start over? I don't want to talk about gang banging your
Well,
person.
what kind of word would I use for this?
You could say tag team. I guess that could
No,
be taken.
no.
That's the same thing. All right, tag me in.
I would say you guys trapped her in a corner, and she definitely
Made her piss her pants.
she definitely peed her pants, and she also was very highly intoxicated.
Oh my God, that's
Well.
that's even worse than.
The intoxicated people are always either super fun or horribly annoying.
All right, and now we're back with Scares Anonymous talking
Oh,
about.
I think I'm just gonna keep that.
Yeah, maybe that's actually good. We
I
get a
think
lot
it's
of good
funny.
PR for that one. You can cut it.
Disclaimer: we never actually gang banged somebody out there.
Just
One of my probably all-time favorite scares that I did, and I've talked about this on my blog, was this one night at the farm, I was line walking. I was walking up this line that was these people were waiting for the zombie hunt, which is no longer there anymore. But they were waiting in this long, huge line. It was one of the busiest nights of the season. And I snuck up on this teenage girl, and she, I don't know, I snarled in her ear or something like that. She turned around and she booked it and started running. So I chased her, of course. And then I see right up ahead of her, I'm like, she is going to run right into this rope that's draped between these two posts. It's like a queue line for daytime stuff or something. So I see this girl, I'm like, she's going to hurt herself. So I just stopped running. She kept running, screaming. And there's like literally hundreds of people in the area that are watching her because she's screaming at the top of her lungs. And I'm like, oh, this is going to be bad. And I just watched her, and it was like in slow motion. She just hit her, like she ran straight into it in her waist, flipped over, it landed on the ground in front of everybody. And then I hear the entire crowd go, oh, and then start laughing. So it was so funny, but I was like, dude, this girl's probably hurt. I need to make sure she's okay. So I ran up to her, and then she saw me running towards her, and I wasn't going to scare her. I was literally going to like break character and be like, are you okay? Do you need first aid? And she just saw me, and she took off again. I'm like, well, I guess she's not too badly injured if she could get up and run off. So
Yeah, I remember this past season I was running after someone, and it was pretty slick because I think it was right after we had that little snow there in October. And I was running, and I just ate it and just did a couple barrel rolls. Just completely destroyed the scare, but I just walked right into the haunted house and just got rid of everyone around me.
at least you didn't do it on camera like I did, because they had the Rocaberry Farm Facebook guy out there, and he's like, hey, just do a Facebook Live video. Just talk about, being out here. So I started talking, and then he's like, yeah, start talking and then scare the people. So I started talking, and then I turned around without really looking, and I ran, and I totally ate it right in front of people on camera, and actually really hurt too, but that's probably just because I'm old. But
there was this one time I was, hanging out around the cartoon haunted house. There was a bunch of SpongeBob and Jimmy Neutron and, just all kind of things inside there. And I'm, at this point, I'm in costume, really scary looking, really scary looking and stuff. But I was sitting in a corner, just minding my own business in this cartoon haunted house, at the middle of a nighttime weekend when, I didn't think any little children were going to walk in and explore this nice, not scary haunted house. Well, one comes around the corner, not expecting a big, giant 6'2" clown to be standing there with white contacts in, looking like a demon, a very scary, muscular demon. But this kid